I've titled this episode, They Told You the Truth and Called It a Joke. There's something else that I need to talk about today because I think it explains why so many survivors stay longer than they ever imagined that they would. It's called abuse amnesia. And no, it doesn't always look like forgetting a huge traumatic event. Sometimes it looks like forgetting 1,000 tiny cuts. The comment about your weight, the criticism disguised as concern, the joke that wasn't actually funny, the comparison to another woman, the subtle put down in front of friends, the backhanded compliment, the little moments that left you feeling uncomfortable and unable to explain why. I remember hearing things in both marriages that made my stomach drop, comments that didn't sit right, comments that felt very cruel, comments that felt designed to hurt, not given to someone that they love. But when I questioned them, the answer was always the same. Relax. It was just a joke. Can't you take a joke? You're way too sensitive. You take everything so seriously. And because I didn't want conflict, because I wanted to believe the best in someone that I loved, because I was conditioned to doubt myself, I put those moments aside. I forgot them. Not intentionally, my brain filed them away. That's abuse amnesia. People think abuse amnesia means you forget the big events. Sometimes. But often it's forgetting the pattern. It's forgetting how many times your boundaries were crossed, how many times your feelings were dismissed, how many times your confidence took a hit, how many times you left a conversation feeling smaller than when you entered it. One insult is easy to explain away. One joke is easy to dismiss. One criticism is easy to rationalize. But when you stack hundreds of them together over years, or in my case, decades, they become a pattern. The problem is that abuse rarely arrives wearing a name tag. It arrives disguised as humor, disguised as honesty, disguised as concern, and disguised as love. And because it arrives in disguise, survivors often don't recognize it until many years later. I can look back now and see moments that were giant red flags, moments where someone was testing my boundaries, moments where revealing exactly, or the person I was with, they were revealing exactly who they were, moments where someone was checking in to see what I would tolerate. And the scary part is many of those moments were followed by laughter. And if laughter somehow erased what was just said, it didn't. My nervous system heard it. My body heard it. My intuition heard it, even when my conscious mind couldn't fully process it. That's why so many survivors say things like, I knew something was wrong, but I couldn't put my finger on it. I felt confused all the time. Of course you did. Your intuition was collecting evidence while your survival instincts were busy making excuses. That's the conflict. One part of you knows, the other part needs the relationship to survive. So the brain does something incredible. It minimalizes. It normalizes. It suppresses. It protects. Psychologists call this betrayal trauma. The mind will sometimes hide the full truth from itself in order to preserve an attachment that feels necessary. Not because you're weak, not because you're stupid, but because your brain is trying to keep you emotionally alive. And I think one of the most healing moments in recovery is realizing this. I was never blind. I was never naive. I was never crazy. I was